Shadows rise like morning sun, chasing points, the game's begun. Big decisions week by week, fantasy glory's what we seek. Pick your squad, the clock won't wait, captain choice will seal your fate. Two enthusiasts breaking it down, fantasy kings, we're taking the crown.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tinker Time, an FPL pod, the show for every fantasy Premier League manager who's already second-guessing their 8th draft. It's Monday, October 20th, 2025, and whether you're wildcarding after Week 8 or just here to scout some differentials, you've come to the right place. I'm Matt, alongside Jim, and we're here to help you tweak, test, and yes, tinker your way to the top of your mini-leagues. We'll break down the best value picks, fixture trends, and hidden gems, so you don't have to stare at your squad screen in despair. So let's pop the hood, crack open the spreadsheet, and get tinkering. Jim, hello! How the hell are you?
I'm doing all right. I was just shy of the average this week, but, I spent some time out in nature, looking up at the stars, looking at, contemplating how small we are. 3 points off the average doesn't really seem like much when you put yourself out there in perspective of things. So I think I'm all right. I'm all
gonna
right.
say you sound refreshed.
Yeah,
And I'm right there with you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being just below the average. I think you and I we have thrived there most
that's
of our
really our sweet spot. Yeah.
adult lives. Yeah. I think our wives would agree. Let's get into it. This was a fun week. I mean, kind of. I don't know.
It's a sad week too. You want to start off with the in memoriam section? We've been missing that.
This has to be probably the fastest I think I've ever seen a manager hired and then sacked ever that I've ever seen since I've started following the Prem.
So
We're talking about Ange Postecoglou. He
was it
was abruptly
9
fired.
games?
8. I believe it was 8.
But there was midweek games thrown in there too, so it wasn't 8 weeks.
We could confirm that, but it
It
wasn't
doesn't matter.
8 game weeks. It was I think it was aggregate 8 games that included midweek games.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
tough one.
Ange he went in it went into half against Chelsea 0-0, and I believe
It was like
yeah,
14
he
minutes
walked.
after final whistle.
Yeah, it was something like that. He didn't even make it to his last presser. I think he did address the squad, but I think he was seen walking to his car with a bag over his shoulder. Hopefully, that bag was a sack full of money,
Yeah.
and he's on his way out. But
Yeah. I mean, he
uh,
could probably yeah.
yeah, so I think reports Sean Dyche is on his way in.
That's just a boring. It's just a
Yeah,
I mean, he's a great character. I'm happy to see him back, but he's no Ange. I
yeah. I mean,
read that. I don't know if any of the listeners heard it, but did you read that full press conference I sent you about how he's
his
basically
comments on
yeah,
Friday.
yeah. You feel terrible for the guy. He's basically saying like, listen, nobody considers me a winner, even though that's all I've done. When Levy brought him in, he basically said we've brought in winners, and that hasn't worked out for us. Now we're bringing in you. He's like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, that
You got to
was
feel for him.
yeah, and in his first season, he did finish 5th.
You know,
Listen, Angelo always have a soft spot for myself. I don't want to speak for you, but he did bring some glory to the club that I root for day in and day out. So, you know, let's just pretend like this little 8-week spell at Forest never happened, because honestly, it kind of didn't. He was brought into a club that, the players were not really designed for his system. So I can't really expect the results to be any different than what they were. And yeah, I mean, the biggest shit end of all this was it kind of threw away all the Forest assets for FPL. It made Chris Wood unplayable. It made Matt Sells useless. It made all of the Forest defenders useless. So yeah, thanks a lot, Marinakis. Piece of shit. Go have some, I don't know, Spanakopita, whatever you,
lock up.
yeah, lock, what, I don't know. But in brighter news, Mateta made his case. And I think,
Balls to be
honestly,
had.
yeah, I think he may have heard our episode And I think it was actually I might have lit a fire under his ass because I think I was talking about, who are those kind of mid-price, not premium price forwards, but kind of in that 7 to 7.5 price forward range. And I mentioned João Pedro, I mentioned Voltemade, I mentioned Evan Nilsson, and I forgot about Mateta. And shame on me because
Yeah.
he came out with a vengeance. He had a Hattie. He actually, I think if you saw the highlights, he should have had a fourth. I think he might have had he had one of the worst misses I think we've seen all season. But yeah, we'll get into obviously in the game recaps. But Mateta just I think with João Pedro's form, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. Mateta made his case. He might be that that third forward option in
Mhm.
that kind of 7 to 7.5 range. Might want to bring in going forward.
Obviously, to play alongside Holland, who I mean, he can't stop here. We've said it now 3 weeks in a row. I think he's a set and forget captain pick, and I just have not done it. And
What are you waiting for?
well, a differential.
He's the most owned player in the game at this point, deservedly so.
Yep.
I think he
Yep.
has
Yep.
90 goals in his last 10 games.
Everything's going
Um,
for him. He's looked great,
he
and I guess I'm just stubborn. I guess that's what it comes down to.
well, I yeah, I don't know. I mean, it feels like we've mentioned him every headline to kick off the recap episode. I mean, he's just scoring.
Yeah.
It's what you want, and he's rewarded owners. He's going to continue to do so. Hopefully.
Yeah. Don't see him slowing down.
You know who has slowed down? And I think we can kind of fully say it. Liverpool kind of suck ass.
They're in a slump. They're in a slump. I don't know if they suck ass.
So
They suck.
so I was trying to pull a stat together before we hopped on to record here, and I ran out of time. But I was very curious to see out of the so Liverpool have played 8 matches this season in the Prem, and I was trying to see the total number of minutes they have actually led all season.
Mm.
Obviously, right? Like they've won some games, and they had pretty decent table position. I haven't. We'll take a look at the table in just a moment. React to kind of where some teams have settled. But just spoiler, right? Liverpool right now are sitting fourth in the table. Right, they're on 15 points, but they've lost their last 3 matches. Right, so they've basically gotten nothing from their last 3. So that
Mhm.
means, they got all their points from their first 5 matches. I'm so curious to see out of those first 5 matches where they, took 15 points out of 15 of the roughly, right, 450 minutes. How many minutes do you think they actually led in those matches? I'm super curious. Like I know it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? I mean, what matters is what the
Yeah.
score was at the end of the game. But like yeah, you look at a team like Arsenal, who they're top of the table. I would say they're winning those games and they are controlling those games like comfortably. I just like eye test. Like
Mhm.
Liverpool don't look good right now at all.
Yeah, they're not getting that, counterattack goal that it's like guaranteed if he played out wide to Salah and he has some space to make a move or two. They've thrived off that the last couple of years. And he's just that ball's not there, and he's maybe I think it's safe to say lost a step or maybe lost some confidence and hasn't paired well with the new players. It's just they're just a shell of themselves in the last couple of years.
It's almost like they would have benefited from like a preseason or like just any sort of like preseason training with their star striker that they set the transfer feed to bring in instead of a whole transfer saga all summer and being all out of sorts. But I don't know.
Yeah, but
Neither here nor there.
to that point, they won 5 games without him, so not
Not
necessarily.
great though. But
Yeah,
yeah,
personally, I think it's Slot and how he wants him to play versus the squad, and uh, yeah, just not working.
we'll see. I can't remember the last time Liverpool lost 3 in a row in the front. It's been a while.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, no, I'm as a
I guess I
fan, I'm
do
fine
from
with it.
a fantasy perspective, but
Yeah, I will say it kind of makes the sale of Salah even that much easier. Like I think we've been talking about it for the last few weeks. Like we would almost like them to falter more regularly because then it makes the decision to free up those funds a little bit easier. And now if Salah, if he turns it around, like okay, he blanked. I don't know what the numbers are right in front of me, but
mhm,
I could kind of live with it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll get into it. But
yeah.
moving on to our player of the week. So this is kind of a throwback. The one, the only Reece James. So 18 points. So he had a goal, an assist, and a clean sheet. Really kind of triple threat impacted the game. 3 bonus points in 90 minutes for Chelsea. Basically, just kind of took the life out of Ange and Forrest in that game. Um, Yeah, nice to see. I mean, a player who, when he was healthy, even a couple of seasons ago, was one of those kind of premium defenders that super attacking. Really, like if you could get him in your squad, was one of those players that really could make a difference. But
Mhm.
injuries have just killed him the last few seasons, kind of made him undraftable.
Yeah.
And now with Chelsea's squad depth, just rotation risk. I don't know if I'm comfortable bringing him in, but if he's going to be nailed on minutes and starts to get a few returns like this, could find his way back in.
Yeah. Yeah. He used to be good when he still is good. He's a good player. It's just like you said, with that rotation, who's he going to be feeding up top? I know he got a goal here himself, which is nice, but you almost want to see more assists out of those premium defenders because those are more consistent potential returns. But
Yeah,
I'd say it is good that we're seeing a premium get the highest points of the week, though. That's
yeah,
that's been rare.
yeah. And he has gotten 90 minutes in the last 4 game weeks, and he has gotten 3 assists out of the last 4 game weeks.
There you go. What's he
Not
priced at?
awful form. Right now he's at 5.4. Chelsea's got a pretty good fixture run too. They got Sunderland next week, Spurs in game week 10, and then Wolves and Burnley before facing Arsenal in game week 13. So we know how teams fare against Wolves.
Hmm.
You know,
It's a
not a
good one.
bad fixture run in 3 out of the next 4. I could see managers loading up on Chelsea assets, especially seeing as Palmer's going to be out for a while. João Pedro seems to be kind of just, I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
And Enzo injury, maybe. So maybe Reece James is that guy if you want a Chelsea player.
Yeah.
Could
So
be.
I guess with that, we could jump into the game recaps there. That was the first game. So
Yeah, sure.
you caught me. You caught me.
I caught you.
Flops.
Well, yeah. I mean, just we kind of mentioned it already. Salah, João Pedro. I'm gonna go as far as and throw Yakarish in there. Salah and João Pedro, I think, for pretty obvious reasons.
Hmm.
I mean, everything we've said already. Again, the price, take that into account, the ownership into account. Yakarish, if you take his price into account, if you take his returns, really his only return in the last few game weeks, he had a goal against Forest, which we know about Forest defense, and then he had the 15-pointer against Leeds. But Yakarish really hasn't done a ton. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, he's a threat. He maybe opens up some opportunities for guys like Trossard or Martinelli or Saka. Like, no, we're not doing that here. If you're going to have him in your squad, he's going to be priced at 9 mil plus. He's got to get goals. He's not doing that. He's a flop as far as I'm concerned so far.
Fair enough. And
Enough said.
at the price point he came in, yeah, not delivering.
With that kind of a last name, if you're going to have that kind of a last name, that difficult to pronounce, got to justify your price.
Yeah, make it worth people's time.
All right. I know you were a little premature. That happens sometimes with you,
No, you're
from what I've
going all
heard.
in on Reece James.
Well, yeah, I know. I was a big Reece guy. But why don't we get into the matches and let's talk about what happened.
All right, so Saturday early game was Forest hosting Chelsea. As you said, scoreless for the first half. Then Josh Akampong in the 49th minute, assisted by Pedro Neto, who then scored his own goal 3 minutes later, assisted by Reece James. A couple of subs after that, and then James finishes scoring the 84th minute, followed quickly by a Malagusto second yellow. So he's going to be missing a match here. He's probably the second highest owned Chelsea asset or Chelsea defender. We could look, but after that it was all done. just to clean up the 3 points and send Ange back in.
Yeah. I mean, biggest things that stand out here, I mean, I don't even think there's anything to really talk about on the Forest side. If you still have Forest players, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say to you at this point.
Wood didn't even start.
Wood didn't start. I mean, this was such a weird formation, even for Ange. Like, this was like an 8-1-1. Like, what is this? This is 8 defensive players. I don't really understand it. But
Tough.
enough about Forest. On the Chelsea side, I think the biggest thing that kind of stands out here. So we did get some clarity from Maresca during the press conference. So Palmer is going to be out for a little bit longer. I think there was some on our last episode, Palmer could be back in the next couple of weeks. I think Palmer's going to be out for a little bit longer there. So avoid him still. Enzo, who we thought could be featuring this past weekend, he was not even in the squad this weekend. He was out with the injuries. We'll have to keep an eye on that in the midweeks, see if he's an option for selection, maybe to bring in. He was one of those players that we thought could be on penalties, and he had been in good form. Sato didn't start. I know you had brought him in. Did come on in half, but that was kind of a bummer for you. But yeah, interesting lineup here.
They just have so many attacking players. Like Pedro Neto would be somebody that, based on how he did last year, he was a big signing for them this summer, but he just lost in the mix with all their other attacking players. That, do you really want to take a chance to bring him in and have him not even be on the bench?
Take a chance on me. No copyright.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Pedro, another blank. I think it's probably time that people are going to be moving on from him, especially with the uncertainty around who's going to be starting. There's really no reason for him to be keeping his spot after the form he's in.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm still not touching Neto. And I'm just thinking about Chelsea. We just talked about their fixtures coming up. With Palmer being out, João Pedro not really necessarily being in the best form, looking for players that maybe you want to bring in for that fixture run. Neto, could be a player, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think it's James and Cucurella are the ones that you'd want to bring in.
That's who I was going next, was Cucurella. So Cucurella's, priced at 6-1, so more expensive than James. But he has been, more nailed this season. I honestly, I don't remember if James was coming off injury to begin the season. I want to say he was. I mean, probably was.
So that's why the price drop, I believe.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If James is healthy, he's always been more of a threat. So yeah.
We'll see. A lot of decisions to be made.
Decisions.
Yeah. High level, I think time to move on from João Pedro and maybe bring in those defenders and drop all your Forest assets.
I do know João Pedro already had a price drop right after Sunday night's price drop event at midnight, whatever it is. So wouldn't be surprised if he drops again, though.
Moving on. So first game in the 10 o'clock slate, Brighton hosting Newcastle. So we had an injury in the 36th minute with the Kuiper being subbed on. So another game that he didn't start. Their big summer signing is not broken into the first squad. Then opened up the scoring. Danny Welbeck, assisted by Jorginho Rutter in the 41st minute. Nick Voltemade tied it up in the 76th for Newcastle, assisted by Lewis Miley. And then Danny Welbeck with his second in the 84th to put it away. So this is one of those games, I think we said, Welbeck's always good for an unexpected double here and there. But with the shuffling and playing time between him and Matoma, would it have been nice to have him? Absolutely. But I don't know. It's tough, similar to Pedro. It's like he could not touch the field at all. But
I know.
You can miss out on his double.
I know. I think you even said it, like right at the last second, right before we switched talking about this game. You said, I think, Welbeck could be an option, but with that double there, that's how old is Welbeck?
He is 34.
He's 34. He's older than we are. What are we doing?
We got to get over there.
Christ.
Before it's too late for us.
Maybe that actually gives us hope. Maybe we still have a chance. But yeah, I don't really know what to make of this one. Newcastle, they seemingly haven't really gotten their form. Brighton again, same sort of thing where they can kind of handle a team that has the quality of Newcastle, and sometimes they can't. They can implode. Voltemade, again, just phenomenal form. I don't know if you saw the goal. Did you happen to see his goal?
I did not see this one, though.
Another really just kind of nice goal, little style, just kind of he's kind of running across the box and kind of just not a back. I guess he kind of back heel flick. I don't know. You'll have to. Maybe I'll send it to you after this. But just I don't know. When the goals are flowing, these kind of balls just kind of seem to go in for you. So
yeah,
and he kind of had no business going in, but it did. So it still counts.
That counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they had what you would think on paper is their strongest lineup: Alanga, Gordon, Woltamade, Jolinton, Tonali, Guimaraes in the middle. Really, the only one they're missing is Livramento. So the fact that they lost and let up 2 to Brighton, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
they're still scoring.
It's
All right, moving on. This game, Burnley hosting Leeds. Leslie Ogachukwu opened up the scoring in the 18th minute,
God bless you.
assisted by none other than Kyle Walker, the ageless wonder. Then Loam Chua. Let me try this again. Loom Chwana, assisted by Florentino in the 68th minute. That might be the hardest one I've had to say so far.
Lone Twana, freaky little mama. Okay.
Loam Chwana scored in the 68th minute to put it away. No goals after that. Leeds unable to get back on the score sheet. Their inconsistency continues. Burnley with another clean sheet. So kind of what
Yeah,
we expected
Burnley.
in this season. It's like that, they're a tough team against the lower half of the table. They'll scrap some of these out and get the clean sheet and a couple goals. But I don't think we've seen them take down anybody big yet. But hey, if you could target them when they're playing like this, go for it.
Yeah. No, this was I would say this was a tough one personally because I ended up making a very late transfer Friday evening and I brought in Joe Roden
Nice.
very late. I felt good about it and it just obviously didn't work out. That happens. What are you gonna do? But yeah, and then obviously, hindsight 2020, had Dubravka on my bench, as a lot of managers I feel probably did. I started Nick Pope instead. So, it kind of hurts twice there. Not only did I pick the wrong defender to bring in, but then I had a player on my bench. So, whatever. But yeah, I mean, this was the snoozer, like you mentioned. But yeah, I don't really have a ton on this one.
Doesn't sway any moves, I'd say, on any
No,
players.
no.
It just is what it is.
TCL still sucks.
All right, next one, Goalpalooza. Palace hosting Bournemouth. So Bournemouth opened up the scoring in the 7th minute, an Eli Jr. groupie header, followed by another goal in the 38th minute. So we had a brace in the first half there. Then Jean-Philippe Matita opens up his scoring in the 64th minute, assisted by Daniel Munoz. So he's getting his return. He's been quiet for a few weeks. 69th minute, Mateta gets his double. And then Bournemouth pulls ahead in the 89th minute. Ryan Christie, assisted by Marc Tavernier, who finally gets on the score sheet after 9 weeks. But at the death, 90 plus 7, Jean-Philippe Mateta gets a penalty, puts it away to complete his hat trick. Point apiece. Really exciting game.
Yeah, this was probably the most thrilling game I would say to watch. We already talked about Mateta. I think if you're looking for a João Pedro replacement and you already have Ultimate, I think Mateta is probably, if you have the funds, the most logical choice. But I will say, immediately opposite him, there's a very interesting choice with Evan Nilsson's injury. So Evan Nilsson injured. I believe he's going to be out for quite a bit. He's got a calf injury. He's going to be out probably till mid-November. But these, soft muscle injuries, kind of soft tissue injuries, you can't rush him back. Krupi Jr., okay, I believe he's only priced at 4.5 mil. He's going to be a 4.5 mil striker, nailed
Selected by 2%.
2%, massive differential, scored 2 goals against Palace's defense. Palace defense who shut down Liverpool, right? Palace defense who has been in phenomenal form all season, right? He opened some eyes this week. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go out and nab a brace every week, but
Next 3 are Forest City Villa. So tough run there. But then he has the West Ham, Sunderland, Everton.
it just depends on what you're looking to get out of it, right? Like most
Yeah.
of the time, if it's a 4.5 mil striker, you're really just looking for the minutes and maybe you put him on your bench and he subs on if you need him to. If I had a 4.5 mil striker, I'm probably not starting him. I would use it to open up funds, to be very honest.
Yeah.
But just an option that opened up with the Evan Nilsson injury. So just wanted to call that out. Quiet game for Semenyo. Sure you loved that.
Yep.
A lot of managers kind of
Gotta
probably missed
yell
out
for
on that.
people.
And just one other thing to note, because he missed it last week, but he made up for it this week. Senesi, back in the defensive contribution column with 20 defensive contributions.
That's
That's a lot.
significant.
That's a
Isn't it
lot.
what we've seen so far in one match?
I actually want to say Van Dijk had a 20 contribution match. Like week 1 or week 2. He might have had a 20 in that game against Bournemouth, actually.
I think he did because I had to walk back my stance that he's missed his
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
I was wrong
So,
again. But Senesi
yeah.
and Semenyo both had yellows though. So
This
tough
was a
for
scrappy
those
one.
owners. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else to say? Probably.
No, lots of goals, but they were all kind of from 2 players. I doubt anyone had Krupi and, yeah.
At that price, I bet people are gonna jump to him quick, especially if selling Salah.
If you're selling Salah this week and João Pedro and you move to Krupi, you could totally rebuild your midfield.
Whole midfield.
You could really do a lot this week if you decide to take a hit and make some moves. Could be
Maybe even,
fun.
maybe even bank some money for upcoming. We'll see. All right, next game: City hosting Everton. No surprises here. Haaland opened up the scoring in the 58th minute, assisted by Nico O'Reilly, and then gets his double in the 63rd minute, assisted by Savinho. Miss Spurs signing Savinho.
For
Everton.
now.
Yeah, Everton couldn't get anything going. Like we said, they were without Jack Grealish, who's unable to play against City, and I think this is kind of what we expected. Could have been a bloodbath. They held it to 2, both with Haaland, so he gets another big score sheet.
Yeah, I mean, Tarkowski gets his ZEFCON, as is tradition. I don't think we expected much, though, out of Everton attack in this instance.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm very surprised that Reinder's ownership isn't dropping off faster. I feel like his returns, other than, I mean, we could take a look after when we go into the app for some of the point totals from the week, but I don't feel like he's had a return in quite some time. He is starting, he is getting those minutes for City, which sometimes for City, that's just as important. Just having confidence that he's getting minutes, but
He's been getting subbed though too. It's not even like he's getting minutes, but he's not the full 90.
Yeah,
But to be fair, nobody else on City's been scoring consistently.
it's just Holland. Yeah.
I mean, Foden's been starting and playing the full 90 or close to it. He hasn't returned. Doku, I mean, Savinho got to start this week, but yeah, it's almost frustrating how well Holland's doing, but because it's not. Usually in the past when City score 5 goals, that's spread out. So as long as you had one asset, you could probably get some coverage, but it's so concentrated here that it's making City players hard to own.
Yeah. I think, just kind of looking at, game week 9, right? So Guardiola wasn't injured. This was probably just a game for Pep to give him a breather. Nori should be back within the next week or two. We'll have to keep an eye on the presser. He's slotted to come back late October. We're in late October. So we'll see how that plays out. Grealish was suspended.
Champions League this week, so.
True. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Rotating.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. And then, like you said, Grealish was only out because of kind of loan obligations and whatnot, parent club stuff. So he will be back. So, for Grealish owners, hurt this week, but he's healthy. So that's all you can hope for. I'm interested in this Ryan Cherky guy. I know he had that injury, but I'm interested to see what he brings. I feel like he'll probably start on the right, from what I understand. I don't think he's super central, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what he brings, if he'd be anything of an asset. FPL.
He was supposed to be like their big signing that was supposed to be nailed, but I don't know. Who knows with them?
They're crazy. All right, moving on.
All right, Sunderland hosting Wolves. Wolves continue to stink. Sunderland opened up in the 16th minute. Nordi Makule, assisted by Trey Hume. These names are just getting harder and harder. Unbelievable. And then a slugfest of a game, followed only by a 92nd minute Ladislav Krejci own goal. Nothing else to report in the match, really. I don't know if there's really anybody that people have on Sunderland apart from Reynaldo, who's coming back next week. He's finally done with the suspension. So I don't even know if people have saved him. I know I have, just because his price.
Yeah, I think we could check the ownership. I know like a few folks have had Mukiele, they've had Alderete or Reynaldo. I don't think they've had more than one of them. I think they've probably chosen one of those cheaper defenders. I think I've seen a few folks with Ropes as their keeper. But yeah, I mean, Sunderland kind of in that same boat as like Burnley, but at the same time, like this is Wolves. Everyone has beaten Wolves. If you don't take your free 3 points from Wolves this season, then like it's kind of like, you pass go, you get the $100, right? Is it 200? I don't know. I haven't played Monopoly in a while, but it's $100, right?
200.
Jesus Christ. No inflation, tariffs. I don't know.
Yeah. So Wolves have drawn 2, lost 6 with
To
a
who?
minus 11 goal differential this year.
Who did they drag?
You want to know who?
Don't say United.
Tottenham and Brighton last week.
But yeah, I thought, wait, wasn't Polina's goal to win it?
No.
That was a level?
Yeah.
Boy.
That's why people were upset with him, the shirt off.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, we've been bad. We've dropped points.
Yeah, but not as bad as Wolves.
So bad. So bad.
All right, moving on. Final game of the Saturday: Fulham hosting Arsenal. So we had Leandro Trossard opening up the scoring in the 58th minute, assisted by Gabriel. So another defensive contribution there from the Arsenal defenders, or attacking contribution, I should say, from the Arsenal defenders. Followed by 65th minute penalty canceled by VAR for Bukayo Saka. So unfortunate for those that did captain Saka this week. Would have been really nice to get more points on the sheet there, but unfortunately VAR overturned it. No other goals
Yeah.
to note. Gyökeres did play the full 90 plus 6 before getting subbed. So like you said, he's been a bit of a flop. But I mean, at this point, I don't think anybody's bringing him in or captaining him to be backing him. And maybe he could skirt the flop label, at least for FPL.
Skirt.
Yep. So tough start to life in the Prem for him, but Arsenal continue to score. And again, thanks to their defenders for chipping in.
Yeah. Calafiori did have a nice goal that was ruled out offsides, but nonetheless, it was a nice one touch. It actually was. I think it was technically from open play. I'm trying to remember the build up now. No, actually, no, I don't. I don't remember. But it was nice. I will say the actual kick itself into the goal was nice. One touch. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. Like, it's right in front of you. Arsenal defense, it's been here. Saliba, Gabriel have been there for what, 3 or 4 seasons now? Like, they have been there. It's so obvious. Since Raya came in, they've only been better. Timber and Calafiori, they've settled into the Premier League now. There's been some question whether, whose first choice is, is Timber, is it Ben White, is it Calafiori? I mean, we've seen Arteta at this point go with Timber and Calafiori. I think you can feel pretty comfortable that they will be first choice at this point, until an injury or for some reason. I don't know why they would switch at this point. If you have the funds, figure out a way to get them in. I know I am.
Yeah. Another just to note, so I know Saka didn't get the assists for the penalty if he didn't take it, or the penalty if he was to take it. He did get a clean sheet point, 2 defensive contribution points, and that helped kick in 2 bonus points. So technically he blanked, but ended with 7. So that's kind of going to show what those, defensive contribution and changes to the bonus point system could do. I did not watch this game, but I had captained him, so I was just following on FotMob, and I saw that no goals. In my head, it's 6 points I'm looking at, but with some of the changes this year, at least you can salvage a little bit more.
That's nice. That is nice. Happy for you.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm sure you are. Fuck off.
All right. I think that's it for this one.
Yeah.
Fulham, nothing happened for Fulham. Did they
No.
even have, if we look at their stats, I mean, they had a .44 expected goal. That's useless. Not a single shot on target. Useless.
Jimenez was back, so maybe that's the only thing to know. I don't know.
Yeah, did he bring his big headpiece? All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Sundays. Spurs had the first one. This was such a Spurs game to lose. I knew we were going to lose this game.
Absolutely. Spurs opened up the scoring in the 5th minute. Rodrigo Bentancur, assisted by João Palhinha. Morgan Rogers gets on the score sheet in the 37th minute to tie it up. After that, nothing great. Richarlison comes on. He's been quiet, so good to see him back on the team, in the squad. But Emilio Buendia in the 77th minute, assisted by Luka Dean, who I feel like hasn't contributed to an offensive goal in 2 seasons. Put the go-ahead goal in the 77th minute, and then that's it. Spurs couldn't put it together to salvage anything. You're right. This is a classic Spurs collapse. Get the early lead to a team they should beat. They're in better form then, and then just let it slip away.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough one. Like, Spurs have 9 players on the injured list, if you look at FotMob, which is it's a lot of players. Although, if you look at impactful, it's really just Romero, maybe Udogie. Everyone else, I mean, you're not really banking on. Solanke hasn't had any impact this season. So,
and Romero got injured in warm-ups, so they were planning all week for him to start.
Right. Right.
Whatever that's worth. I don't know.
Yeah. I at what point, I don't think Odebear is the answer.
No.
I don't know what the plan is there. If Kane watched this game, the price just went up. I mean, I don't know if you saw the ball that came across it was off of a free kick, Like Poro went to kind of deflected off the ref, and then Kudus put the ball in and basically like put it on a platter for Tell. All he had to do was just like, I don't know, have any part of his body touch it, would have went in the back of the net, and he just totally missed it.
Yeah, Tell and Odebear, they got to stop playing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we got to stop this rotation. Start Johnson. Start him up
yeah,
top. Like I don't know. Maybe if Richie's back and he can play 90 up top for us, things will turn around. But
yeah.
those two
I
guys are not the answer.
No, no, they're not. Yeah. I'm not gonna fault Frank on game plan here because he's got to play the players that are healthy. But yeah, this just felt like a super trap game. The game we lose all the time. Lose this game 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
on the other side, Villa won this without starting Watkins. So Malin played 61. So it's not even like they had their best on paper offensive players to beat
no,
us. It's just,
no,
you know,
yeah. If you look at the stats of the game, like Spurs did create. They had 10 shots compared to 8, 3 on target compared to 2. More expected goals, more possession. All the things you'd want to see. Just the result wasn't there. But again, expected numbers don't always translate. And from an FPL perspective, Xavi blanked. So you think about like players here, Kudus blanked. A lot of folks have Van de Ven. Van de Ven blanked and he had a yellow. So Van de Ven literally got 0 points. No defensive contributions to speak of. He did have 1 shot on goal, which, okay, cool, but that's not why you have him in your team. So Spurs, we talked about it. Spurs fixtures are kind of taking a turn.
yep.
This is that turn. So might be time to jump ship on some of those Spurs
Yeah.
assets.
And form both turning. So
Yeah. Yep. We made it 8 game weeks. That's pretty good. Better than last season.
take a quarter of the way.
All right.
Next one, Liverpool hosting United. Heated rivalry. So Brian and Wemo, second minute, opened up the scoring, assisted by Ahmad, set the tone there, followed by 76 minutes of nothing. Then Cody Akpo, who coming off he's just in great form. Goal assisted by Federico Chiesa. But that lead, the draw would only last 6 minutes until Harry Slabhead Maguire would come in, put it away, assisted by Bruno Fernand, to take the 3 points away from Liverpool. So their poor form continues. And Isak are not playing well together. Burt's is looking like, I don't know, they just donated all that money to Frankfurt. I don't know.
He's Leverkusen, right?
You're Leverkusen. I apologize. Yeah, I don't know where they go from here. I think he has to bench Salah.
Boy.
At what point is
Well,
What point's
so
enough? He's not the captain, so it's not like he's, got that going for him. It just seems like they need to change something, and he's the one piece that hasn't been tinkered with.
are you really going to point to him though as the problem?
No.
Like, are you gonna bench the player who has the most experience in that squad navigating the Prem?
If he's
Probably the
if
guy on
he's
that
not,
team with.
if he's not playing how Slot wants the team to play, you got to try something.
I don't know. I mean, you hear about all like across sports, not even just in soccer. Like the best athletes are the ones that like have the slowest heartbeats in the biggest moments, right? Like they can slow the game down. Like I feel like
He's
Salah can do that.
barely beating this year.
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, you bring up a fair point. You look at the stats of this game. Like I feel like Arne can walk up into the dressing room and say, "Hey, like look at how we played this game." You could make the argument, okay, so let's look at the numbers, right? So Liverpool with an expected 2.75 goals compared to United's 1.34, 19 total shots against 12, 6 on target against 4. 208 more accurate passes, fewer fouls, twice as many corners, like every metric says Liverpool played quite literally twice as good a game as United.
Liverpool,
But
not Salah.
right, but Salah's a part of that,
Yes.
right? I mean, like, yes, okay, sure. Let's bring it back to the FPL side. So if we want to make the argument that Salah blanking has basically made himself undraftable, I'm with you. I'm ready to move on from Salah. I frankly am regretting that I made a transfer last week because this week I'd like to move on from Salah, but I really feel like it's hard to make a move from Salah without making multiple moves because I hate having this much money in the bank this week, but
Yeah.
I guess I can live with it. I have to look at, who I would bring in. My first move is going to be who's playing Wolves this week.
But just sticking with the game or where Liverpool go. He's the only one that hasn't seen the rotation or seen how other pieces are fitting together. I think if Slot doesn't do anything, it's just going to be more of the same. More, it's going to be the blame is going to be put on Verts. It's going to be put on Isak, and that's only going to make them worse. I don't know. It's a tough decision, but that's why I'm willing to make it for Slot. He's just got to do it.
I mean, if you look at the league, though, City have scored the most goals with 17. Chelsea have scored the second most with 16. Arsenal in third with 15. Liverpool fourth with 14, tied with a couple of tied with Bournemouth and Spurs. They've let in 11. Also let in like I mean, they're letting in a lot of goals. You could make the argument that Van Dijk should be benched, or I know Alisson's injured, but you could make the argument that this is a defensive scheme issue. Frimpong, Kirkez, Konate, they haven't worked out. You could make the argument that it's not an issue with the attack; it's more of an issue of the midfield or the defense, right?
Yeah, yes, you could say that. I think the midfield is probably the only one that you can't blame.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's tough. Something needs to change, and he's the only piece that hasn't. He's been there for what, 8 years?
Why don't you give Arne a call?
10 years?
See what he says. What do you have to lose?
I don't
Here's
know.
what you do.
I like
You give him a
international
call.
limits.
Well, then text him because there's international texting.
I'll
Fine.
text him.
You call him up and say, "Hi there. It's Flavortown Athletic." You show him your table position, and he has to listen to
You
you.
want me to go with the sympathy? The sympathy?
Yeah. Yeah. Say, listen,
Well.
you're killing me, Smalls. And
All
just see
right.
what he does. See what he does.
All right. On the United side, anything to note?
Nice goal for Bomo, but I still can't get myself to draft him because I don't know if he's overtaken Bruno on pens. If I would say if they would reclassify Harry Maguire as a forward, I'd bring him in tomorrow. But that's all I
He shows up
got.
in the games. No Shesko starting. Let's go.
No Zeshko, I don't understand it. We talked about him. He was the guy that you made sure I mentioned last week instead of Mateta. Yeah, I don't know. One player I will mention because I feel like United's defense has looked a lot better over the last couple of weeks. Their keeper, Sen Lemons. I don't know how to say his name.
Lens.
5 saves, an expected goals prevented of 1.33. I mean that's a high number. Could be some. I mean, he's a little higher priced. I'm not personally looking to make a move because I got Nick Pope and I've got Dubravka as my cheaper option. But he's made a nice entrance to the Prem thus far.
That he has.
I got to move off Dorgu.
Yeah, get away. You feel better about it. All right, last game of the weekend, West Ham. This was today. West Ham hosting Brentford. West Ham continued to stink. Igor Thiago with the 43rd minute goal, assisted by Kevin Shade. He had another one in stoppage time in the first half that was ruled off by VAR, so could have his double there. But then nothing until the 90th +4. Matthias Jensen scored, assisted by Keane Lewis Potter. West Ham stink.
So bad.
Although I did see something, I think it was going into this week. Bowen was still like the 4th highest goal scorer or forward.
I could almost see that because
I should have saved it when I saw it, but basically he had 2 weeks where he had this goal and a bonus.
I could see that.
Let's look at the trend.
That wouldn't completely surprise me. I could see that.
Yeah, even now he's the 5th highest total points.
I mean, he's quietly had a decent campaign.
Yeah, he's tied with Mateta.
And that's off of Mateta having a Hattie.
Correct. Yeah, and Bowen blanking. So yeah, I mean the forwards just haven't been there. Although, Woltemade's hot on their tail, probably the one that is going to be pushing for.
He's looked really good.
He has, and they have a good squad. But yeah, other than that, I mean, nothing really to note. I'm not sure how many people have Brentford assets. Although Thiago is making his case, he's continuing to score.
He is.
And he was
only
get his
6
every week.
He's either 6 or 6'1". Yeah. So super affordable. I mean, the good news is for João Pedro owners, if you're looking to move off him, you have tons of options, even with his price drop.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at the highest scoring, Allen's first with 83. Who do you think is in second with 31?
31.
Nope. Sorry. I messed up. 41.
41. Next highest forward with 41 points. I have no idea.
João Pedro,
I was going to say that.
who has blanked 3 weeks in a row. And then third place behind João Pedro with 40 points is Thiago.
Wow.
So he's been the most consistent. Mateta and Bowen are behind him. And Mateta just had a hat trick. So they're at 37. So
Jeez.
the numbers are saying go to Thiago. They have Liverpool coming up next, who have not kept a clean sheet. So it's one to keep in mind for a price that really you should be able to afford.
He's another one. It was right in front of us all along.
Yeah.
6 mil nailed forward on pens. Come on. It's too easy. This game's too easy.
We think too much.
Let's move on. Team of the week. So special shout out to those players who just absolutely crushed it this week. If you had all of these players, you're phenomenal. So Dubravka, 9 points, Burnley keeper. Reece James, we mentioned already, Chelsea defender with an 18-pointer. Mukiele, defender over at Sunderland with 17. At Champong over at Chelsea, defender, 14 points. Kyle Walker, 14-pointer over at Burnley. Gabriel with a 12-pointer over at Arsenal. Pedro Neto, 12-pointer over at Chelsea. Benton Kerr, 12-pointer at Spurs. Mateta with 17 points for Palace. Danny Welbeck with 13 points for Brighton. And Holland with 13 points for Man City. So this week, if you selected all of those players, you would have scored 151 points. Team of the week was actually a 5-2-3 formation. So 5 defenders made team of the week, 2 midfielders and 3 forwards. Defenders have been on fire this season.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, I feel like going into this season, the thought was midfielders were going to have just so much opportunity.
Yeah.
And
They just
defenders
haven't
have
been
just
scoring.
said, hold my dick.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Good
And
for
this is a
them.
team that you could afford easily on 100 million.
Room to spare. Yeah, I mean, so with just the wave of a wand, you could have had this team.
A wand or maybe even a baton. And this episode is actually brought to you by the Maestro's baton. Not just a stick, it's a statement. Crafted from the finest Italian wood, probably. Balanced to perfection and guaranteed to make even the smallest community orchestra feel like the New York Philharmonic. When you hold the Maestro's baton, you're not just keeping time. You're commanding respect. You're conducting destiny. You're reminding everyone in the room that you prefer to be addressed as Maestro. Whether you're waving it in front of an orchestra or just using it to direct traffic in your living room, the Maestro's baton gives every gesture the gravitas it deserves. Order yours online today at maestrosupreme.com and use code TINKER for 15% off. That's maestrosupreme.com, code TINKER. The Maestro's baton. Because anybody could wave their hands, but only a maestro waves a baton. Back to the pod.
All right. So I know you kind of mentioned it at the top of the episode, but you want to get into our points for the week?
Yeah. So I made 4 transfers this last week. I brought in Timber, Caicedo,
All right, show off.
Stack, and Isak.
I saw that.
And I moved out Salah and
Were you were you under the influence when you were making your transfers?
I was not. This was early in the week. This was, I think, Thursday midday I did it. And so I'm at 53 points. I went Captain Saka, so I got 14 on him. If he got that penalty, I mean, it would have been
Really thrust you.
really would have been better. So that one stung. I did have a Steve on the bench with 8 points. Who, if I had
He
him,
was buried.
I know. If I had him in over Van de Ven, I would have been above the average. But 53 points. I'm liking where my squad's at, and if Caicedo got the start, I probably would have felt better. But to see him not start on the early game to set the tone for the weekend, that one really stung. I'm not giving up hope on Isak. Maybe me pushing Salah to be benched just because I'm looking at Isak long term.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think
2027 long term or
maybe
2028.
I'll hold him
Okay.
till get ahead of the
Yeah, smart. So this is a dynasty fantasy Premier League apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted the Liverpool coverage between him, Isak, and Gakpo, and I obviously made the wrong choice. But hey, it's all good.
He's got to get a goal eventually.
He's gonna.
He's got to.
So this week I'm probably moving on from João Pedro.
Well, it's early still.
I wanted to do the Woltemade move as well, but I didn't want to burn too many transfer hits, so I called it there.
Yeah. Have you started thinking about your chip strategy at all? I mean, you've used your wild card, but you still have triple captain, bench boost, free hit.
I wanted to save Holland for, what was it, 17 when they play West Ham at home.
Mm.
I was looking at that, and then bench boost I think was 19 because I think
It
City
resets at 20.
was it 18 or 19. I think City, Liverpool, and Arsenal all have very good. Yeah, City.
Wait, don't you have to use it before 19? Doesn't the new one come at 20?
Yeah, I'm gonna use it on 19.
Wait, did you say you're going to use the triple captain on 19 or 18?
No, bench boost on 19.
Bench was on 19. When are you going to use triple captain?
18.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, I misheard you. Okay.
Yeah, I think bench boost 19 because Liverpool play Leeds, City have an easy one, and then Arsenal have whatever. 19 is what I'm targeting for that. So,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
free hit whenever. So that was my week. 53 points plus 8 on the bench.
I like the squad. I do. I hope it works out. I really do.
Let's just move on. I beat
Okay.
the AI
That's
handily.
that's what matters. So I also scored 53 points this week. So we are equal.
Yeah, but I had 8 on the bench to bring in. So
Well, I had 9 on the bench. So
you really, net 7 though. So
yeah. So I had Nick Pope in goal. I mentioned already. Van de Ven, Mark Gahey on the back line, Joe Roden on the back. So we had 2 defenders. Same. Mo Salah, Kudus, Xavi, and Semenyo. So nothing from my midfield. Total blanks there.
tough.
Holland and Boltamade really gave me most of my points. João Pedro also blank. Sometimes I look at like the individual players' points and I'm like, where do I get 53? I
Yeah,
see this and I see like 32 points.
You got 36 points from.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Dubravka on my bench was tough. And Dorgu and Josh King gave me nothing. And Reynaldo obviously still suspended though. Yeah, just beneath the average is what it is. So a little bit of a little dip in the table position, but point wise, not really out of reach. Taking a look at Lord Tink himself, herself, themselves. So Lord Tinkerton finally brutal week. Now I will say, like when we had the selection episode, I really liked Lord Tinkerton's moves. So if we remember, Lord Tinkerton, they brought in Juve and they removed Agbatu. They basically they lost the Wolves defender, which was a good move. 34, not a good week.
Did they start?
Sanchez in goal.
Did they start Evan Nelson? I don't remember.
They did. They did. So yeah, the biggest thing here was basically they started Evan Nilsson, who didn't play, obviously with injury, and Chris Wood only had 1 point, was on the bench. So they basically ended up with Pedro Porro, gave him 1 point, Richards who gave him 3, Tarkowski gave him 3, Juve only gave him 1. Bruno Fernandes, who gave 8, had the assist there. Bruce 2. Salah, who was the captain, gave him 4. Menyo with 4. Oku with 1. João Pedro with 2. So really, what it came down to was captaincy choice. If he went Bruno Fernandes, he would have had another 8 points there. Would have been 42. He would have 40 points. I mean, it would have been nicer, but we crushed the AI this week. Big win for the humans.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta
that's
say.
my battle this season now.
Yeah. But just taking a look at the the table position here, some nice game week totals. Henry Paradise 71 points, Maximum Steve, Paul Gonzalez. You guys are over the 500 point total. Matt Wannett just underneath, a hair under at 499. Another 70 point total.
Impressive.
Nice point totals. Jimbo, you're close to 381. It's okay. You're almost there. Yeah, I mean, we're getting some separation in the table for sure, but a lot of season still left. A lot of season left. Folks are going to lose interest, feign interest. Folks are going to drop out, and lots of chips still to be played. Basically, got 10 game weeks. A lot of folks have 10 game weeks, 11 game weeks to play upwards of 4 chips. Keep that in mind. You can't play all 4 at the same game week.
Sure.
Just saying.
Think ahead.
All right, so just taking a quick look at price changes while we are sitting here. Is anyone on track to move? Okay, so we do have some players who are about to move while we're recording. So Timber, Arsenal defender, Anthony Gordon, Granit Xhaka, Mukiele, Caicedo. These are all players that are about to move in the next couple of days. Josh King actually is about to move in the next couple of days. Semenyo,
Move down.
Petrovic. No, moving up. in the next couple of days. They're all on track to move in the next couple of days. Timber's on track to move tomorrow. Everyone else that I just mentioned is on track to move in the next 2 days. So don't have to panic. But by the time our deadline episode comes out, most of these players will have gone up in price.
Mhm.
Now, as far as drops go, so this is a big one. Navi, Ekatike, Chris Wood, they are on track to drop tonight as we are speaking in the next 26 minutes.
Please don't have Chris Wood in your squad.
Don't have Chris Wood in your squad. I have Xavi, so I might want to make a move. ASAP Rocky, maybe ASAP Ferg. Mo Salah is actually on track to drop tomorrow, so that's an interesting one.
You gonna do him and Javi tonight?
I might have to. That might be the move. I don't want to lock myself in, but I might do some tinkering after this. Might have to. Jimbo, this was good.
A real treat.
This was clean. This was a good start to the week, I will say. It's a fun time of year. Got Halloween coming up. Did you pick out your costume yet? I see you're wearing your mask tonight. Bazinga!
Boom roasted me. I did not pick a costume yet.
Did your daughters pick out what they are dressing up as? Are they dressing up?
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna change 2 or 3 times.
Hmm.
That's 11 days away.
Well, interesting.
What about you?
We're the Power Rangers.
Nice. Who are you gonna be?
I'm
You're
the
gonna
Blue
be-
Ranger.
You're not the Blue Ranger.
I got the Green Ranger shirt, and if you look at the picture on the Amazon, item, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then what was delivered, they are two completely separate. They are not the same thing whatsoever. And I'm not going to try to get another. So I got a blue one, and the item that was delivered looks exactly like the picture. Go figure.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
I'm the Blue Ranger. My wife is the Yellow Ranger. My daughter is the Pink Ranger, and my son is the Red Ranger. I'll have to send you a picture of my son. It's funny, but yeah, no, we're
You gonna get
looking
Zords?
forward to it. I don't know if I'm allowed to, because I feel like I'd love to, but I don't think I can afford it.
They're pricey.
I don't think I can afford it. They got to be expensive.
It gotta be.
They got to be.
Although, can you really
But-
save the price on saving the world?
I know. That's I got to teach my kids a lesson when it comes to that kind of stuff. Hopefully, I have an answer before the next episode. But we'll be back. We'll be back to preview Gameweek 9. Gameweek 9 already? Do I have that right? We're flying here, but still lots of time. But in the meantime, as always, please do go check us out on Spotify, Apple Music. We're on YouTube. Drop us a comment. We love when you guys roast us. Please roast us. Please, we love it. Hit that notification bell. Drop us a like, comment, and I'll drop the code to join our mini league in the meantime, as always. And in the meantime, happy tinkering.
Draft dreams rise like morning sun, chasing points, the game's begun. Big decisions week by week, fantasy glory's what we seek. Pick your squad, the clock won't wait. Captain choice will seal your